All right, episode 81. Today, we're going to find out how can real estate agents go from broke to six figures and what is the Blue Ocean strategy. We're going to get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
A good episode today. So episode 81, how can real estate agents go from broke to six figures and what is the Blue Ocean strategy? We're going to be joined in a second by Jake Dixon. But before we do all that, if you're not part of the only real estate group worth being a part of over on Facebook, go request access now and then join us over at Tour Academy. So if you're interested in taking 10 plus listings every single month, right? Just like Brian and Matt, just like the Good Home Team, go over to touracademy.com/take10, TEN, sign up for the 10 plus listings webinar. And from there, you can sign up for Tour Academy for $1. So go over touracademy.com/take10. And again, today we're joined by Jake Dixon. He is the founder of The Locker Room. He founded it in 2017 when he was a productivity coach at the Keller Williams Fort Mill office. He took the principles taught in expansion systems orientation at KW and applied them to the coaching world to expand into their other offices across the country. Today, Jake has partnered with nearly 200 offices and in January launched an indie broker as well as an EXP teams for his coaching company. During his time as a productivity coach, Jake found that while real estate markets are local, many real estate agents are called to the business to help people, and when unprepared, nearly 90% of them are unsupported, right? That's why we see a large failure rate in this business. So, Jake, welcome.
Having me, guys, and
What's going
get
on,
back
man?
there.
How are you?
Doing great. Rumor has it that this is the only real estate podcast worth listening to, so I'm honored to be here.
Well, that's certainly what we think, but we were also pretty drunk when we came up with that show title, so I don't know if everybody would agree with that. Just being honest.
And just own it.
All right. Hold on. I'm dealing with technical difficulties here, but I think we're back on track.
Well, Jake, tell me a little bit. So, with this strategy, right? So, why is it? Let's just get start at the gate strong. Why do you feel that agents, especially new ones, right? So, your program, over at the Locker Room, is designed a lot of times from what I've read for agents that are doing typically less than 24 transactions a year. Why are agents struggling in this business, in your opinion?
That's a big question and a loaded question. There's a lot of reasons for it, guys, and I'm sure you see it just like I do, but I think they go into it because there's a very low bar of entry, if we're just being honest, with our real estate industry. So anybody who's looking for a career change or a second, job sort of situation can get inside of real estate, and yet they fail to understand the real expectations because maybe they were watching HGTV or they had a cousin that got in. And that was the inspiration really for our business model in one of our unique courses called the 19 Things They Don't Teach You in Real Estate School. So we can really educate and get in front of that and set those people up for success because they don't know necessarily what quote unquote lead generation is. They think magically I make one post on Facebook and all my friends and family are going to come running. And I think we all agree that's everything but true.
Absolutely. And so tell me and break this down because I'm looking here. The Locker Room now has 2,500 agents and coaches and brokers currently right now. And with the tools that y'all are offering, why is it that, the Locker Room, which again is geared towards those newer agents or agents doing less than 24 transactions a year, why is your program, more successful, or let's just say helps agents get that right track versus joining a Keller Williams and EXP and utilizing the tools that the brokerage offers?
Well, I would never say that whatever these companies offer doesn't work. We're just in addition to oftentimes. And we've created, by coaching and consulting over 7,000 real estate agents now, there's a lot of people who have come before you and paid the stupid tax. And so it's not just a matter of knowing what to do. A lot of times it's knowing what to say no to and what not to do.
Yep.
And so really when we analyzed the real estate coaching industry, we found that a lot of that 3%, bloody shark infested waters is being catered to. And I say that in sense of the traditional real estate coaching companies that are out there, which are great in their own rights. And Captain Obvious over here says, well, what about this 97% blue ocean who, largely represent NAR, 1.3 million realtors
Right.
that maybe are leading with revenue, with revenue instead of expenses. So they generally can't afford or may not see the value of coaching just yet. And I am obsessively passionate. So price or cost is not the determining factor on whether or not they can have access to world-class coaching and training.
I think that's so important, man. I mean, if you ask even, now being in such a high-level leadership role and obviously as a productivity coach with Keller Williams, myself as well, so was Nick at one time, every single successful person I know has a high-level coach. And like you said before, nothing against brokerage training, nothing against anything like that. I think there's such a difference between training and coaching. That's what a brokerage is there to do for you, is to train you, right? As a leader of a team now, and Kelderman as well, and Nick as well, the majority of my day is spent on coaching, and that is either in the moment, situational coaching. It's more, curated for a particular subject we're talking about with the entire team. I probably spend 30 different phone calls a day on the phone with our agents working through this, that, and the other thing. And that's stuff that you're not going to really get from your brokerage. But at the same time, I have a coach as well. I meet with my coach every week, and I never miss a coaching meeting. They're fundamentally important to me. Even though I've been in this business for a long time now, I would not be able to grow without the guidance of a coach. And I think that that's sometimes a hard thing for people to grasp until they sort of reach past that first plateau where they're like, okay, now what, right? And then the day in and day out coaching becomes so important.
I agree with that. You just hit on something very, very fundamental and yet often overlooked, which, not to get caught up in semantics, right? But there is a distinct difference of what training versus coaching is. And I think most newer or lesser experienced agents go into a coaching relationship when in reality, what they're expecting is training.
Right.
And so, look, I'm a baseball guy, right? I played college and professional baseball before doing what I'm doing now.
Nice.
And so I use analogies like that a lot. I was running an indoor baseball training facility, teaching kids how to swing a bat, grip a ball, do things the right way. Last time I checked, the game doesn't change. So the same way I'm going to teach a kid how to hold a bat when he's 11 is the same way those guys on TV are doing it, earning millions of dollars a year.
Yep.
Right? The only thing that changes is that the game speeds up.
Yep.
And so if I can teach the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals to a newer, lesser experienced real estate agent, and they learn it the right way from day one, guess what? Same thing applies. The game speeds up. So now instead of doing 12 units a year, I'm doing 48. But nothing on the fundamentals changed. And that's really what we're about, is laying a solid foundation so they can go vertical from there.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because that is legitimately my exact real estate journey, right? 7 units, 12 units, 13 units, 20 units. And then when I started bringing on real coaching, and I always had, you guys use the analogy about baseball or whatever, I always thought of brokerages as being a giant army, right? Like armies in the old days when they used to have to march, they can only march as fast as the slowest person.
Sure.
And that's really the same problem brokerages run into with their training, is they can only move so fast because they have to account for the lowest common denominator,
Yep.
right? They have to bring everybody along at the same speed. And coaching really allows you to get individualistic and start solving individual problems that I might have that Brian doesn't have. I mean, Brian and I legitimately used to coach together with the same person.
Yep.
They split us up because they were like, this is useless. You guys do not need the same thing at all.
Yeah.
So coaching you together is pointless, right? In my career, I had all the qualms that everybody else had. It was too expensive, worrying about my splits, all of those types of things. But you get to a certain point where you realize that the hours in the day don't change.
Yep.
Your efficiency is what changes it from going to 48 to 50 and whatever that number is. So I can certainly appreciate what you're throwing out there, man.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I get from at least my coaching, and I think that we try to guide our team on is the efficiency, right? No matter how good you get at this job, no matter how successful you become in this industry, you're still only going to have 24 hours in a day, right? I think that's probably, it has been for me over the last 9 years or so, the biggest benefit of coaching to me has been to stop Brian from doing all the things that don't make Brian money and get him out of his shiny little toy habit and get him focused on embracing some of the things that suck but are still very, very dollar productive and building consistent habits, and then realizing the successes from that and building off of it. I think one of the biggest things, especially, Jake, understands as well, being a productivity coach. When I was a productivity coach at the office that we're at, we had like 130 new agents a year or something like that, right? And law of real estate averages, quite a few of them didn't make it past their first year. It's just kind of the industry that we're in. I would say the number one thing that I saw among people that flamed out relatively quickly is they were just fundamentally focused on the wrong things. They were so focused on the wrong, and they were sucking up so much of their time worrying about and worrying about everything from what headshot to use to like what the freaking domain should be for their website and all that type of stuff. And it's like, that stuff's all great, but man, you've got to use your time. You've only got 24 hours of it a day. You've got to use it a lot more productively than that.
So Jake, let's break down I listened to another show of yours, and you talked about the 5 principles that agents really need to adapt and adopt, right? Can you break down those 5 principles for us?
If it's what I think you're referring to, so I personally coach and believe to the 5 things, which is number 1, mindset, right? Nothing matters until I have their head right. And then from there, we go to activities, results, skill set development, and then systems and processes. Exactly, essentially what you guys are saying, that I want to win the mind share battle. We teach our agents during trainings to manage expectations with their clients.
Yeah.
In many ways, my job as a coach a lot of times is to manage their expectations of me and me of them. And so I hit them with it day one, where, look, I'm going to coach and consult you on those 5 key items. I notice I did not say I'm your broker, did not say I'm your contract guru
right.
or your technology guy. It's those 5 things, and we're going to get really, really down and dirty. And I am a big proponent of tracking and, understanding the story that numbers are showing. And so that is an expectation with anybody that's part of me, my organization, and within our proximity, is that we run it like a business as well day one, because we know that we will create business owners, not just great real estate agents who can sling some properties.
Oh man, can we just talk about tracking for the next 25 minutes?
This is Brian's wet dream.
Man,
I nerd out over that stuff like crazy.
I'm gonna put some bite on this one. I cannot convey to people how fucking important it is to track your business and to treat it like a business. It's one of those. It's something that we've really been going into fourth quarter, really harping on our team, and I know Nick probably has as well, about tracking your numbers and really treating your business like a business. Just to give another perspective on it, what has that commitment to tracking your business done for you in your career?
Me, Brian?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so for me, it's allowed me to take the emotion out of the equation and just see it for what it is.
Sure.
Because it's very easy to get caught up in the ebb and flow of our emotion. What do I think is happening? What do I feel like doing today? And when I just see it for what it is, and I got shit to do and I got work to get done, I'm going at it, because I don't lose. I'm sure you guys are that. We win, right? And if I see something I'm supposed to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to grind until it's done. And I've got story after story. For example, I knew that after 3 years of tracking this, that the agents who are actively engaged with me in the coaching program would earn 255% more in GCI than those who were not.
Wow.
That alone, that one talking point alone, what do you think I can do with that from recruiting and getting buy-in and belief from all the other agents? Because now I have that social proof and evidence.
Yep.
No, this is possible. Maybe you're the one that's not working, but I can tell you coaching works.
So Jake, out of the 5 principles here, where do you find, on top of tracking, where do you find that most agents are struggling with? Is it typically they come out of the gate strong, right? So their mindset should be there, at least in the beginning. Is it the activity? Is it the systems? Is it the processes? Where do you find that the hang up is that holds these agents back from hitting, their goal or that 24 unit mark in the first 12 months?
Anything we all start doing that's new, we suck. There's a period of time we're going to suck at something really bad, and then you apply time on task over time to it. So to answer your question, I personally believe it's all in the activities. We know that. Even if I suck, but I'm doing the right thing for long enough, I'm going to win, right? Talent or hard work speaks talent when talent doesn't work hard. We all hear these things. So it's the activities, and more specifically, those of you listening out there, consistency.
Yes.
We're taught to think big and aim high and do all these things. But the minute I do that and I set my goals and I've got clarity about what I want and why I want it, I've got to get really small. I've got to get really focused and granular. And I think that's where most people fail, by reverse engineering their goals, because they don't know the commitment it takes. I can say that I want 16 gold medals around my neck like Michael Phelps or however many he's got. But when I hear that he's in the pool for 16 hours a day relentlessly, forget it. I don't want it that bad.
Yeah.
So when agents start this business and they say, oh, I want to earn 6 figures, really? Interrogate reality and do a financial thermostat check and see, what are you willing to do for that? Do you realize what it takes?
I think that goes back again. Obviously, everything. I think everything we talk about on this podcast in one way or another comes back to mindset. I do a lot of, just like you with baseball. I do a lot of sports analogies as well. I was a boxer my whole life, so I compare things to that sometimes. One of the gyms I trained out of at one point was in Denton, Texas, which is a college town. We had a lot of really, really good professional fighters there as well. And we also had every year the fraternities would do their fraternity fight night for charity. So 2 weeks before that would happen, we'd have a whole bunch of, cool frat dudes come into the gym, and some of them were very timid and some of them were very nice. And, the 2 or 3 that just thought they were going to come in and own the place, right? Because boxing is a very elemental sport, meaning if you have 2 arms and 2 legs, you can technically box. Whether that translates to reality is up for debate. But you'd see a couple of these guys get in the ring with some of the pros, really early on, and really not be training. They would try to fight and they would get obviously torched, And in my head, I'm like, why the fuck did you think that was going to go any differently, right? You came in with a mindset that you were going to compete with a professional athlete just because you have 2 arms and 2 legs. It's no wonder you got hurt, right? It's the same thing with real estate. Just because I say this all the time, I'm the biggest proponent of this. I fundamentally believe that if you can speak English and type on a computer, you can sell real estate in America. But the third element that I don't talk about is you've got to treat it with the mindset that you are still starting from ground zero, right? Just because I can swing a golf club doesn't mean I'm going to go play on the PGA Tour, right? I've got to work at this over and over and over. And if you're going to look to make, say 6 figures or whatever, what else would you have to do in corporate America to make 6 figures? You'd probably have to be pretty committed. So you got to be pretty committed to this as well.
Well, and it never stops, right? Yeah. And that's the thing is we keep, that's something when we're new too. I know that I was at fault for this is once I hit this certain point, it's game over, and I'm always going to maintain it. So Jake, tell us about this blue ocean strategy, because I've never heard of it before. And then again, I was reviewing some of your previous podcasts you've been on. You talked about this blue ocean strategy, which I just bought the book. So let's break that down and explain that.
And so it is one of the most impactful books that I have ever read, and I've read and listened to a lot. So I'm glad you picked that up. By the way, there's a 2.0 version, which is Blue Ocean Shift. So you're welcome. You might want to check that one out too.
I'll go to 2.0.
But man, it just really gets you thinking differently is the simplest way to put it. So instead of competing, we all have this competitive competition mindset. I don't. I just, maybe it sounds arrogant. It come across the wrong way. I don't mean it to, but I believe in operating with a domination mindset. If I'm looking over my shoulder right and left, waiting to see what my quote unquote competition is going to do, right, I'm reactive. I'm focused on the wrong thing. But instead, by being proactive, saying, who cares? And so what we did, it starts with benchmarking and all things and just observing what is the trends, what is the status quo that nobody has really challenged in a long time. And that's where, coupled with the agent side, here's one for you. In this great book called the MREA book, all of you are familiar with, right? They talk about the leads, listings, leverage, 3 L's of real estate. Well, Captain Obvious over here says, how does that apply to the real estate coaching world? Sure. Right? We want listings because listings control the market share. We pick up buyers off the listings, all the wonderful things. So in my world, what's the listing in the real estate coaching industry? It's the freaking brokerage itself. Mm-hmm. So I go on listing appointments to list brokerages, because if I get the listing, all the quote unquote buyers in this equation, the individual agents, may want coaching too, and I can refer them to somebody on our team. So that's really the basis, is going against the grain and daring to challenge the way things have kind of always been done, man. That's the nitty gritty to it, without getting all wrapped up and nerding out on the details.
I'm switching cameras. There we go. If you don't know, I also DJ the show. It's fun. I mean, it's funny because I think that there's, you say you're not competitive, and I don't know that's, you may be being a little bit too much humility there. Maybe we're all competitive in the way. I think you're just being
really
kind.
Competitive.
You're just not competitive like Nick Good is
competitive.
competitive. Nick actively wants people to fail, so right? Which is, I think the Blue Ocean strategy is a little bit contrary to that.
We'll see how maybe I'll learn and grow from the book.
There you go. Exactly.
So Jake, tell us about with building out this 12-week goal crushing course called Track, right? Kind of, can you break down some of the principles of that? Because I was going, we've had the benefit of reviewing this program, and one of the cool things that I've seen that I haven't seen from other programs is that you've got the DISC personality style breakdown for agents and the type of lead gen structure that they could go and look at probably excelling in. So kind of break down that 12-week course called Track.
Appreciate that. So was an 8-month labor of love that we put together based on all of our observations and failures and all the things, compiled into this quickest, in our opinion, the quickest path to an agent who wants to earn 6 figures. And it's 12 weeks because we do believe in the law that what I do today shows up in 90 days, coincidentally a 12-week span, right? And so to break it down as simple as I can, it's a 12-week curriculum path, hence specific productivity actionable items balanced out with training modules along the way, which you guys haven't had the ability to see those just yet. So of those 12 weeks, there's 4 key sections, starting with foundation, which focuses on what are your goals, time management, your core advocates.
Yeah.
From there, it transitions from foundation to skill set development. That's all about working with sellers, working with buyers, things like that. And then section 3 goes to systems and processes, follow-up programs, client experience campaigns, things of that nature. And then it closes out with achievement, which is all about running your business like a business, conversion rates, things like that. And so every section is represented by a 3-week time frame. Every week has a list of actionable items, video modules to knock out, gamification with challenges and things like that. So it's very hands-on, very interactive, and we are seeing ridiculous results ever since launching this on July 20th. One of our coaching partners, 27 people in her program, and through Track, they're averaging 6.5 deals per person.
Wow, that is impressive. That's so. To go back to kind of the where we started this question, this is one of the things that I think that I've struggled with most, I think, in my leadership journey, and with Nick and I being very, very, very similar disc tests or disc profiles, I think he's probably struggled with this too. So I'm high D, high I, absent S and C, like they don't even exist on my chart, right? And so in sort of growing a business and nurturing people of different personality types and different, obviously, disc profiles and things like that, there are times where it does feel like I'm pushing people to do things my way when they're not my personality profile as well, right? Can you give us a little bit of insight, and this is where I've sort of had to develop my mindset too, of what sort of lead generation strategies, and I know this isn't the same for everybody, but what sort of lead generation strategies fit the different sort of disc dominance, or disc profiles, I should say.
And so Nick was referring to a tool that we created that's within Track that actually outlines here, based on your personality behavioral style, here's the likely methods for prospecting and the likely methods for marketing. And to address that real quickly from a 30,000 foot view is I just got sick and tired, probably like you guys, trying to tell people what to do, what worked for me. Well, it's not about me. If cold calling, for example, why would I wrestle over and over with an agent who's just not going to do it?
Yeah.
And so I believe in playing to people's strengths and drawing what are their transferable skills from their previous career and what are you passionate about? And then we figure out how that can apply to attracting business for real estate. So, for example, I'm a high ID, very similar to you. Look, I hate cold calling. I won't do it. You can tell me to do it. I'm just not going to do it. But I know if I'm in front of somebody, you'll like me. I connect pretty easily with people. So for a high I, you may want to explore things that put you belly to belly, like open houses,
Right.
pop buys, door knocks, things like that, instead of sitting behind a computer screen or a phone glued to your ear all day.
Sure.
Whereas high D might want to do some of those cold calls because they're like, just numbers. Let me get to the bottom line. All I care about is results.
It's funny that you say that because, with our, I think that one of the things that we've done over the last couple of years is a lot of client events. We're doing another one here in a couple of weeks. And like it's funny because I feel like my D personality always takes over during the planning of it. Like I avoided client events forever because if I go to a client event or something, once I'm already there, whatever, hey, there's people to talk to. That's fine. I'm cool. The planning of it, if I didn't have Macy on our team who handles all the details, like you'd see the shittiest client events ever. Like it'd be cheese and crackers and like just like horrible, right? Once we get there, that's one of the things that's been awesome about having some support now is like now the client events are really, really cool. But it's funny how your personality works like that because like my DI works perfectly for actually being at client events, putting anything together that's actually going to like work as a client event. I'm super out.
Well, and I think it's interesting that he brings up like which types of leads, not just the lead source, but how you attack them, because this was something that took me years in my career to get comfortable with. That honestly, I would say just in 2020, I've really been able to define the lead sources that are most beneficial for me. Yeah. And I could never do that before. And as I've been able to slide into those lead sources and the way that it kind of helps my business, I've been able to look at other agents on our team and be like, hey, you're struggling in this area because your personality is such that, like, for instance, we have an amazing agent on the team who can set appointments like crazy, right? But struggles to close them a little bit. So we've been coaching that person around what the conversations are. I never had any of that type of training at all early in my career because I just pushed back against so much of it. And now that I've realized that I'm so much more effective person to person, I'm like, Jake, I don't cold call anybody anymore. Not because I couldn't do it. It's an ineffective use of my time. Sure. I'm much more efficient in other ways, and I develop relationships a lot better. And I think early on, I just kept I did the brokerage thing, right? I was listening to what the brokerage training said that was kind of generic for everybody and chasing that specific dream. And in reality, I needed to be coached up on my specific skill set. And that's what's allowed me to turn the corner more so in my ability to retain business than ever before.
I think that goes back to, what Jake was just saying a little earlier about the big blue ocean theory or strategy is you weren't making cold calls for, say, expireds before because cold calling is not in your personality, right? But Matt dominates with expireds now because once he's able to have those conversations, he's able to close them at such a high clip. So we sat down and figured, how do we get you more conversations with expireds without making you do the things that you don't want to do and don't match your personality profile because you won't do it? That's why we set up text message campaigns, things like anything that starts off with an automation that then Matt can respond to and have an organic conversation that way. Now he crushes it with it. So I think it's cool to see kind of going against conventional wisdom and seeing what works. Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Like I said, the changes that we've made specifically to those types of things that have allowed me to get out of my own head, because that's the thing is the no's hurt my feelings. As a super high I with no, I hated the no's so much. Well, when the no's come through in text message, they're easy to dismiss, right? And I can focus on the conversations that matter.
Yep. So Jake, walk us through now. I'm let's say I'm an agent already doing six figures. I'm where I want to be, or I'm in your program. What's the evolution within the locker room there with you guys?
So first of all, Track itself, the program you mentioned, is for anybody at any stage. I know we're talking a lot for the newer or lesser experienced agents, 24 or fewer. We've got top teams doing it, and some of them are even saying this is the best training program I've ever seen, and they've done some big ones. But the natural evolution is they would then go on, if they wanted individual coaching, we have a business development coaching division. So that's essentially our version of independent coaches coaching independent agents or teams that are above and beyond kind of that 24 closing threshold, that maybe they're going or thinking about starting a team, or they do have a team, but they're kind of hitting the ceiling on that potential and they're looking for a breakthrough. So we do cater to that. So it's the primary aspect of our business creates a funnel for those that it spits out on the other end who want more beyond what they're already getting.
And can Track be used for teams? Can teams be coached on Track to where you guys, you guys are helping that team owner, team leader hold their agents accountable, using it almost as like a quick start onboarding and what agents should be doing from day one to the next 12 weeks?
What we're doing right now, for example, this month alone, September, we've onboarded 11 new brokerages this month alone.
Oh, wow.
So what we do, part of that onboarding process is getting them into track. We help them hold an information session, kind of a little grand kickoff party to create the hype around it. And then just like anything, they have a commitment sheet that agents within that office sign the commitment sheet saying, boom, I'm doing this thing, especially now in the fourth quarter. Hello, 12 weeks. Takes you to the new year. And we hold their hand right now. In fact, earlier today, I'm doing a weekly Zoom with all the agents. Like, you don't have to. A lot of our offices are doing their own version of this at the local level. But I am on live every Wednesday with these agents asking, all right, tell me some wins. What'd you get out of the video modules? What challenges are you facing? And it's really a group coaching, group mastermind that I'm just facilitating right now.
You just said something that I want to circle back to real fast. You said signing the commitment agreement or things like that. That is something that I haven't done a lot of with our team, but I used to do it as an individual agent. I think it's so powerful. What do you think it is about? You say you lay out a commitment. I'm going to lead generate this amount, or I'm going to do whatever, right? Your commitment agreement's got to be for your daily activities, not results, because you can't guarantee results, right? But you can guarantee your own actions. What do you think? Like psychologically, that whenever it seems like you sign an agreement, for some reason you hold to it a lot more like strongly. Why do you think that we have that effect?
To the mindset thing, because if I just keep it in my head and I don't go public with my goals, I don't tell my family, or let alone sign pen to paper like an actual contract to myself, it literally doesn't exist in this world. It's just a thought, it's just a wish, it's a hope. And I just think that's what it is. The agents I work with still love a physical planner.
Sure.
And then they get to go in that planner and check something off. There's just something about that act of physically doing it that gives a sense of victory and those little accomplishments along the way, because we don't do that often enough. So I just think signing a commitment letter is telling yourself, let alone sharing that with your family or whomever, that I'm serious about this. Like, I am committed, because you and I both know there is a drastic difference between a goal and a commitment.
Sure.
I ask you, okay, what's your goal? But we always start there. And then I'm going to test, I'm going to poke. I'm going to say, all right, now tell me what your commitment is.
Yep. 100%.
Different numbers generally.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's, I think the agreement thing also works because you usually sign it and someone else kind of holds you accountable to it, right? We tend to not want to let other people down. We tend to sometimes be okay with letting ourselves down. The way to motivate yourself without involving another person is something needs to be taken from you, right? For example, like I talk about this when we talk about fitness and things like that a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, you can do whatever you want to get in shape, but I'll tell you the fastest way to give somebody else $20,000 and tell them if you don't lose 30 pounds in the next 6 months, they need to donate it to charity. I guarantee your ass is losing 30 pounds. It doesn't feel fun to lose money at all, right? It's the same age-old thing. We'll always do more to go get $100,000 back than we will to make it, right? We won't work as hard as a lot of times we won't put in the effort to make $100,000 if that's our goal. But if somebody stole $100,000 from you tomorrow, you go to the end of the earth to get that back, right? It's crazy how we have that commitment to other people, and I think that utilizing that could be really, really strong.
It's no different than, you said earlier, former boxer, it's no different than the gym analogy, right? Sure. How many people pay for a gym membership and don't go because they're lacking the accountability? Mm-hmm. Sounds good, but the commitment's not there.
Yep.
Versus I'm going with a buddy, or better yet, a trainer, sure, and I'll be damned if they're waiting on me in the parking lot at 5 a.m. because I chose to be lazy and not show up.
Yep.
There's just no way. No way I could ever allow myself to do that.
Yep.
So you can't tell me coaching, if you're truly committed to something, doesn't work, because you said it. I'll let myself down all day, maybe, but I will not let somebody else down who's depending on me to be there.
I think that the bigger thing is that when you do that in boxing, you get hurt. So I encourage everybody to get into combat sports.
Then you have to fend for yourself. I've lived this whole thing, right? This is my MO. I am comfortable. Matt, his whole life has been disappointing Matt. So I'm not surprised anymore, right? But sometimes when you put put the accountability of other people in place. People ask me, why do I have a trainer 4 days a week? You know why? Because those are the only 4 days I work out. Yeah. And on days when we miss, I don't go make up the workout. I go figure it out some other way. I have accountability things in place to take over on the things that I just know that I'm just not going to do on my own. And I used to get down on myself about that. Sure. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that it's just smart. Asking people for help is actually the grown-up move.
Yes.
Right? Like, we all think that asking people for help is the bitch move, and it's not. That is asking people to help you with things you're not great at. That's the grown-up move every time. And the older I've gotten, the more I've been able to embrace that. And it's made all the difference, not just in my business, but in my enjoyment of life.
Well, it's amazing how we have that for some things, but we're embarrassed about it for other things.
Yeah.
Like, we all know, like Matt and I have been talking about this forever. It's probably something we're about to put in place. Matt and I need to hire, let's be honest.
It's ridiculous.
Matt and I need to hire a personal assistant that just comes over and cooks for us and does our laundry. And I know that sounds so bougie, and I don't mean for it to come off that way. It's just things that we don't do on our own usually. Like, it just is, right? I will order Icon meals or something that I can throw in the microwave that's still super healthy, and I will wear, the same 4 shirts because I can just wash them over and over and don't have to think about it, right? But I don't want to be that way. We're just busy people, and for some reason, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with asking for help to do that type of stuff because we know we're not going to do it. Why is it feel so, we get so in our feelings about asking for help with like the bigger, more professional, career-oriented things that we're not going to do? Like, there's nothing wrong with leveraging out things in your business that you are not going to do. It's really the smart move. The problem that a lot of people run into is they try to be all things in their business. You can't be all things in your business. Be the best things that suits your personality in your business, and find a way to leverage out all the other stuff, because that stuff's usually not making you money.
And Jake, you've got an offer for the only real estate podcast listeners, right? So you're offering with the discount code TORE, TORE. You're offering a discount for that 12-week tracking program. Where can people find that? How much is it with the discount? What are you offering to the TORE listeners?
The 12-week program is traditionally $495. We're going to knock $50 off that if they go to the checkout page and enter the TORE promo code. You can go there by going to tlrnation.com/track. tlrnation.com/track. And at least read about it. Go there, check it out. We certainly don't want you doing it unless you're committed, all right? But at least you can educate yourself around that. And I want to offer one more thing, too, because, you guys are awesome, and we're not in this just to sell. Sure. So if anybody just wants to even check us out, go to tlrnation.com/free stuff, /free stuff. And we've got some free downloadables, some resources there. If you like them, cool. If not, just don't tell me that you don't, because I don't want to hurt my feelings. But we're not going to, bombard you. Yes, we put on a drip campaign, but whatever, man. That's not what we're in the business of doing. Take it, use it as you wish, but track. You guys at least deserve to check it out.
Here's the cool thing with that, though. So, you're using the discount code TORE, for that. It's $445, right? Yep. And I mean, come on, that is ridiculously cheap.
If you guys knew the amount of money that we spend a month on things that are either for personal growth, business growth, or whatever, I know that I am in, as far as my sphere and people that I aspire to be like, I'm probably on the low end of those expenses. Like, if you provide me value, you are never going to get me to shy away with some sort of price tag. Just show me the value. I am in. Like, and I know people that spend $20,000 a month on just personal growth type stuff and career growth type stuff.
Absolutely. And
I should mention that does.
Go ahead, Jake.
No, I should mention, I don't know if people can see me or not, but I'm holding up an actual workbook. So I should mention, so nobody feels like I'm pulling the wool over their eyes, that does not include a physical workbook. You don't have to purchase one. It's less than $30 on Amazon.com. Sure. It's a nice professionally bound deal. But if you just pay for the course, you will have the option to download it and print it out yourself if you want to go that route.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. Well, first off, Jake, thank you for joining and sharing. I mean, some of the things that I really got out of this, and even when listening to the other shows that you've done, is those 5 principles in that blue ocean strategy. Go order that book right now. Yeah, 100%. And luckily, you've granted us the opportunity to review your 12-week program. I can tell you just from the reviewing it today, it looks badass. It's broken down into items that we didn't think about.
Sure.
And so I'm like, okay, this is legit. There's reasons why we have other type of productivity style coaches on this show. Right. But what we do want to ask everyone who's listening to this is we're going to ask you 2 favors, right? So 2 favors right now. So just get ready. The first favor is go over to iTunes and leave us a review, right? And the second favor is after episode 79, learning all about YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
episode 79. We are setting our goals to build out our YouTube channel even stronger and better, right? So go subscribe to our YouTube channel. The only real estate podcast worth listening to. I think it's called Tour on YouTube. We need to get that better.
I think it's youtube.com/Tour Academy. I'm going to tell you this, and this is why I'm glad you brought this up. I'll just be 100% candid with you. We are trying to up our presence on a certain platform so that we can make what we offer with Tour Academy exponentially more affordable for the people that want to be a part of it. It costs us a lot of money and time and resources and energy while we're all still running full-time businesses to do what we want to do at Tour Academy. This is a way for us to hopefully very soon in the near future start to make what we offer at Tour Academy exponentially more affordable. So please go subscribe to us on YouTube, and I promise you, come the near future, you'll be very happy that you did.
Absolutely. So we thank you guys for listening. Jake, thank you for joining us today. Go over to TLRNation.com/track, TRACK. Use the promo code TOUR, TORE, for a $50 off discount. Jake's been gracious enough to offer that to all our listeners. And Jake, if you could leave us with one parting wisdom, what would that be?
Oh my gosh.
You only get one.
Time on task over time, man. I just can't emphasize that enough. You have to be willing to experiment, commit to the process, and just apply good old-fashioned time on task. I see way too many people pull up just shy of that finish line before they even knew that they were just about to hit momentum.
Yep. That's usually the way it goes.
100%, man. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us, everybody. Jake, thank you so much for coming on, man, and sharing everything with us. Everybody go check out TLRNation.com/free stuff or / what was the other one?
Track.
/track as well, and make sure you show them some love. So appreciate it, guys. I'll leave it with Matt, as always.
Jake, you're an amazing guy, but I still hate David Freese for what he did to my Rangers in 2011. So your Cardinals can suck it.
Fair enough.
We're out. Take us out. So cool. Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group we're being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one, and then go to that one. Thanks.